Welcome! In this video, we will be looking at the best use practices instructors can use to create dynamic lecture videos that will engage students and lead to better learning outcomes. We're going to begin by going over the theory of multimedia learning, which are guidelines to help instructors create digital learning content that supports active cognitive processing without overwhelming learners. Research is clear: we learn best with a combination of visuals and verbal information rather than just words alone. So what are the principles of this theory? We'll begin with the multimedia principle, which states that by combining images and verbal instruction, knowledge can be retained more easily by the learner. This is the foundation of the theory of the multimedia learning. So simply put, the use of text plus the use of images enables a more effective learning environment. Next, we'll cover the modality principle, which states text on the screen should be limited. Instead, use relevant graphics and images to reinforce your message. We don't want students to read the slide rather than listen to the lecture. And now we'll move on to the redundancy principle, which states to avoid using text simultaneously with narration and graphics. The narration and graphics are enough. Extra text will only serve to distract the learner. The coherence principle states unnecessary or distracting content should be avoided. This means leave the fun facts out unless they directly relate to the topic at hand. Focus instead on essential information. Keep it simple and to the point. And then we move on to the signaling principle, where you will guide the learner's attention to key points with visual cues such as bolding or underlining key text or using zoom effects. Next, we will cover the contiguity principle, where we hope the proximity of the items will help evoke memory. And there are two parts to this principle. We have spatial contiguity, which places related images and text close together on the screen to show a relationship. There's also temporal contiguity, and this is auto narration and visualizations are synchronized together to avoid distracting the learner. And next we'll look at the segmenting principle, where we would present the information in chunks to help the learners focus on smaller pieces of the issue and to control their own pace of learning. Now, the image principle states that you should only use relevant images rather than just the instructor talking to you on the screen. This goes straight back to the heart of the multimedia principle and find images that add to your points and help students remember objectives. Moving on to the voice principle, instructors should always use a human voice because we learn better from a human voice rather than a computer-generated one. And that also ties into the personalized principle. This is the theory that we should keep our communication styles casual. We want our students to feel comfortable. We want to avoid using complicated language or jargon, especially if we have not specifically covered those terms before. Now that we have covered all the principles of the theory of multimedia learning, we should cover just a few other important points for instructors to keep in mind. So you want to start by making sure you properly define your audience so you can tailor your video to their needs. Also, focus on your own unique style. You have something to say and you can explain it better than anyone else. Now, these three rules are really important when you're thinking about video creation and education. You want to avoid starting with blank pages or slides. This means if you're starting with a whiteboard or possibly an instructional video on a tablet, you want some sort of introductory graphic or image to help kick off the video. Next, remember that you can record in chunks and edit as you go. So if you make mistakes, it's okay. Also, make sure that you understand the technology that you're using. Use the tools that you know. There are some really great, easy-to-use integrated video options integrated into Microsoft PowerPoint systems. So in conclusion, remember to try to enjoy the process and embrace our imperfections. We and our videos do not need to be perfect to create a positive impact. Students are going to enjoy the effort that we put in and all the personalized touches that help them get to know us a little bit better. Thank you so much for being here today and watching my video.